Hi everyone, Petko here, and today we're going to talk about something very important. Early beta just came out, closed beta, the way you want to call it, and we got one of the first access in the world, and we're going to review today the 4 Covenant choices and options that you have available for a Shaman. I want to look for both Elemental and Enhancement, and I can guys tell you my input. I've played also today on stream, both Elemental and Enhancement, even in Mythic Plus. And you're gonna see that video probably later on uploaded on YouTube. And without further ado, let's begin. Alright, so in the beginning you have 4 choices, as all of you are aware. Have a Kyrian, Ventur, Night Fae, and Necrolords. Now, those 4 have a very specific abilities, and each have unique design and feature to what you can represent with that specific covenant. Some of them are more PvP focused, some of them are more PvE, like Mythic Plus for example, and some of them are entirely for Mythic Plus or for raiding. The first choice is Kyrian. As you can see, the 2 abilities that you have is Vespero Totem that you can see on the screen, and you have Summon Steward. It's also not too bad. I would say this one is kind of more PvP orientated myself. I did not try this in Mythic Plus in Shadowlands, but I'm gonna be testing it further on stream in the next couple of days. So far it looks not bad, but what I have in mind is the main damage ability is capped to 6 targets, and that's something I don't really like, so that's why I haven't tried that first. So I'm gonna give a skip on that up until I come back to the Kyrian. A very powerful covenant. As you can see, it has 2 abilities: the Fate Transfusion, which you can see on screen, and also Soul Shape. Now both are very unique, and they're suitable for different situations. For example, the Soul Shape can save you in situations, for example, where you're mostly PvP situations that you have to run away from a target or genuinely have to escape something. I haven't tested Night Fae myself, and I will not speak further about it. I'm going to be making a YouTube video in regards to Night Fae very soon. I haven't tested it on stream. I will be testing it as well very soon. But the 2 main abilities are Fate Transfusion and Soul Shape. Now, in regards of Ventur, this is the first covenant that I tested myself. The reason why I chose this one is 2 specific reasons. The first one is Door of the Shadows. That allows you to kind of teleport wherever you wanna teleport. I think it's around 30 yards. There's no tooltip, but I can kind of estimate myself. I'm gonna show you in a bit how it looks like, so you can see it for yourself. And the second ability is called Chain Harvest, which is very useful. It also can be used for utility, as well as healing your enemies and attacking your enemies at the same time. It has a cast time of around 2.5 seconds. It depends on your haste. Your current haste when you're like fresh level 60 is not as high. It's like 6%. Probably is gonna get like 15 to 20 whenever you get like max gear, or like close to getting like pre-raid beasts. But so far it looks very strong. And the final one is Necrolords. That's the second covenant I've tested myself today, and it's also super important. Has as well a lot of utility, and it does kind of make up to cleave to single target fights. For example, like 2 to 3 targets. From what I found to myself, the first ability is Fleshcraft, which is a very important ability that can allow you to survive certain boss mechanics. It has a 20% of your maximum health shield every 2 minutes. It's a cast before you engage combat, for example, or you can do it mid-combat. And if you have killed an enemy and if you cast on their corpse, your shield can get up to like 50%, which is like, let's say you have 30k HP, and this shield can be like 15k, which is like very big for PvE, and I would assume for PvP to some extent can be useful. And Primordial Wave, it's very powerful 45-second cooldown ability that allows you to, every time, for every flame shock you have on a target, whenever you press that ability, it casts lava burst to every single target that has a flame shock on. So it's very powerful, short cooldown. I like it a lot. Good interaction. As I said, I'm gonna show you the Covenant tree. You have a choice between 3 different characters: Nadija, Theotar, General Draven. Now my pronunciation might not be good enough for that, but you get the general idea. So what you have to look here is something very important. Some abilities are not yet here. For example, as you can see, this one coming soon, so we don't know what to expect yet. And I would assume in the next like couple of weeks we're gonna get a general idea. But for every single slot, I know it looks very confusing, but let me just explain you. For every single slot, you can see kind of a customization of what you can choose on between. I'll call this one runes, right? So every rune has different purpose. For example, the kind of cross rune means a DPS rune. And DPS rune in this regard can be a different kind of rune. For example, my enhancement rune is Magma Fist. That's my lava lash is increased. My lava lash has additional chance to get his critical strike increased by 25% when I fight a target with infused flame shock. That's for enhancement, for example. And along the road, the reason why I chose Nadija, for example, is because there's the 3 DPS runes that I can put on and one kind of utility rune, right? So I would assume for every kind of PvE and PvP concept, you're gonna switch around between. So you can choose 3 DPS runes here. You can also go like 3 tanky kind of runes or like kind of survivability runes, and you can choose that as well. I mainly chose, as I said, this one because you can choose 3 DPS runes, and at the same time, Trio Seeker, that's the end kind of Covenant talent, is very strong in Mythic Plus currently, and I tested it myself. You're gonna see it very soon uploaded as a video, or that video might be uploaded before this one is uploaded, so I don't know yet. The second DPS rune is Unruly Winds. Winfury weapon has 40% chance to trigger a third attack. Now 40% chance is very high chance, so it is very good in my opinion. And the last one is Focused Lighting. Maelstrom weapon increase damage or healing of your next spell by additional 4% per stack. Right, so that's very powerful runes for enhancement. On the other side, I can show you the elemental ones, which are not as great. For example, not as great, but you can have a general idea. I'm gonna show you actually every rune so you guys can see for yourself. The first rune is Crippling Hex. It's probably useful in PvP, not as much in PvE, but every time you cast a hex on a target and the target breaks or get dispelled, they do 8% reduced damage for 8 seconds. You know, not as bad. That's a utility rune. The next one is Earth and Sky. Earth Shock and Elemental Blast damage are increased by 7% for each stack of fulmination they discharge. That's for Elemental. It is very powerful. Elemental Blast and Earth Shock. I mean, Elemental Blast, let me just switch to Elemental. It's not as used in either Mythic Plus PvP or raiding, but Earth Shock is definitely very common. So that's a good one. Shake of the Foundation is casting the Earthquake has 15% chance to instantly cast Chain Lightnings on a random enemy in the Earthquake, right? So that again is a very good kind of AoE rune for Elemental. It's probably one of the few DPS runes for Elemental, so that's, you know, not too bad. We don't have much variety. Fire Elemental lasts 15% longer, which is like if your Elemental is let's say 30 seconds, 15% longer of 30 seconds is like what, 4 seconds and a half? My math might be wrong, but I just do it on the fly. Lightning Bolt has 30% chance to generate an extra stack of fulmination. That's very big, by the way. It is very useful for both Mythic Plus in raiding, so that's the main rune you want to look for Elemental. It's very powerful. Bloodlust or any similar effect also grants you 4 seconds of Spirit Walker Grace. Now, if you don't know what is Spirit Walker Grace, they recently added that to Elemental Shamans that allows you to cast spells while moving. Now, this was only added in BFA for Resto Shamans, but they implemented this for every single spec. Actually, only for Elemental and Resto. So that's also kind of a neat upgrade. There's another I would call that utility rune, Totemic Surge. The cooldown of your Tremor, Earthbind Totem, and Capacitator Totem are reduced by like 1 second. Not too big, not too small, I guess. It is mediocre. Your Earth Elemental increase your max HP by 20%. Now that's a very big utility rune. As I said, and I've always said, Shaman lacks a survivability on the end receiver. Even in Mythic Plus currently in BFA, so seeing that makes me really happy. Giving us like 20% HP bump on demand is something that I look forward myself. You can avoid some one-shot mechanics, for example. Let's say if you're gonna have like 35 to 40k HP, and if you put your Earth Elemental, you're gonna get insta 8k on top or like 10k on top. Plus you get a personal wall if you run Primal Elemental as Elemental. So that's a big, in my opinion. That's for Resto. Earth Shoot, increase your healing done to the target by additional 5%. That's kind of a more spot healing, direct healing in a way. Probably useful in every kind of scenario, PvP, Mythic Plus or raiding. Chain Heal has 4% chance to jump on additional ally. Again, very useful in both PvP and PvE. Healing Tide Totem, increase the healing of your healing rain by 160% for 20 seconds. Now that is a very, very powerful rune for Restoration Shaman, and I would assume that's going to be primarily used in raiding. Healing Stream Totem, increase the healing of your next 3 healing surges, healing waves, or Riptide spells by 20%. Again, huge one for both PvP and PvE. This one is kind of slightly more on the down end side. Froststruck has 21% chance to grant 21 stacks of Maelstrom weapon. This can be potentially good as enhancer. It just depends on your base haste. I mean, it's still due to change, so we don't know yet. We will see. And the last one, your healing surge is 15% more effective on yourself. Again, I don't think I find much use of all that, unless it's like some heavy PvP combo that you have to survive as a shaman. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much for Ventur Covenant. These runes are used in every single Covenant, regardless of if it's like Ventur or any other Covenant. You can broadly use them. They are farmable and obtainable through I might be wrong, but it's like through questing or any kind of end zone. I'm not sure how they're obtainable yet. You can currently buy them in beta, but I would assume they are going to be implemented and further detailed. How can you obtain them? I would assume from Mythic Plus, PvP or PvE, just like Azerites or Essences in BFA, right? And the first thing I really wanted to see are the Legendaries coming back to Shadowlands. That's something that is very much close to my heart, and it intrigues me in a way of like no other gear in the game does. And I'm going to show you today the best legendaries in my opinion, or all kind of craftable legendaries for Elemental and Enhancement Shaman, and you can see for yourself how you can craft them. Currently, you can purchase all the materials from the vendor, but these are going to be farmable, probably end content. We don't know yet, but we're going to find out very soon. Just let's begin. Okay, now the first thing I want to talk about is you can choose what legendary do you want to craft. Now primarily you can choose between shoulders, hands, ring, head, bracer, necklace, right? For every single one there's different kind of abilities or different things that work out for different specs. For example, for Enhancement Shaman, can I just show you everything? Hold on. Okay. So, for example, for Enhancement Shaman, if you put boots on this load, you can see that there's only one trait called Deep Tremor Stone. Earth Elemental has a permanent earthquake attached to it. That is both for Elemental and Enhancement Shaman. Not too strong, but I guess it's fine. Not too bad if you get it. The next one on the list is let me check the hands. What do they have? Primal Lava Acquisitor, whatever it's called. Each time Flame Shock deals periodic damage, increase the damage of your Lava Lash by 10% and reduces the cooldown of Lava Lash by 0.5%. Now, if you don't know, guys, how the legendary works, you can only have one legendary per slot, so you can only obtain one legendary, and you can wear only one. I think you can obtain multiple, but you can only wear one. So that's kind of interesting. You're not allowed to swap gear in Mythic Plus in the key like you did in Legion, but you can swap it before you start a dungeon. So I guess in some scenarios you want to swap around legendaries depending on like what the dungeon asks for you. I have prepared here the two, in my opinion, best legendaries so far for Elemental and Enhancement. The first one is a Flame Shock. Damage over time, critical strikes reduce the cooldown of your Fire Elemental by 1 second, and Flame Shock has 30% increased critical strike chance. So in my opinion, that is by far the strongest for Elemental. you could, depending on your base haste values, you can get your fire elemental pretty much like 20 to 30 to 40 seconds faster than usual if you're good on micromanaging flame shock. So that is something very unique and interesting. So I really like that. And for example, this ring. So okay, the next legendary I've crafted is increase your bloodlust timer, increase your bloodlust duration by 20 seconds on you, and you gain an extra 10% haste from any bloodlust type effect. So that is also something unique. It's something like Ancestral Resonance in BFA, the Azerite trait, probably inspired by this, and it's a cool, unique feature, and I really like it myself because it gives me like an extra bump, an extra burst whenever it's needed. It's probably going to be very useful in raiding, and you can sustain higher numbers just because you're gonna have like 20% longer lust on yourself. So you're gonna have like a 1 minute lust. That's gonna be very, very strong in my opinion. So definitely looking forward for that. Let me check Necklace. So for Necklace you have two choices: Chains of Devastation. Casting Chain Heal makes your next chain lighting instant cast. Casting Chain Lighting makes your next chain heal instant cast. That is gonna be probably this as this legendary for Resto Shaman and Mythic Plus, because you could cast insta Chain Lighting whenever you cast Chain Heal and then the other way around. So I would assume that is very, very good for them DPS wise. The next one is Legacy of the Frost Witch, consuming 5 stacks of Maelstrom Weapon for Enhancer Shaman. Will reset the cooldown of your Storm Strike and cause your next Storm Strike to deal 100% increased damage. That is also very strong in my opinion. Not as strong as the Lava Lash one, but it's still fine. It's still decent. Let me check what the legs provide. Nothing currently, that's very interesting. Let me check the head. Deeply Rooted Elements. Using Storm Strike has 5% chance to activate Ascendance for 6 seconds. I would assume you only want to run Ascendance for like pure single target, so I don't really look into that legendary as something that has potential on, but it's, again, we are very, very early to beta, so these things are due to change, and I'm going to be tracking those and addressing those changes as soon as they happen. And the second one is Doom Winds, which is, in my opinion, by far the strongest for Elemental Shaman. Dropping Wind Fury Totem grants you 100% increased chance to gain Wind Fury weapon for 8 seconds. And in my opinion, having a damage on demand is the better choice, always. Damage on demand is always better than damage on proc, like you rely on RNG. So I like this a lot, and I will be choosing this for enhancement. This is like kind of the small preview for legendaries so far as we have for Elemental Shaman. As you can see, Ancestral Reminder, and those are the same as I showed it before. Those are kind of the currently like small sneak peek into like what can you expect out of legendaries. As I said, we're very early to beta, so things are due to change. So don't take my words and, you know, follow exactly what I say. That is just purely my opinion, and looking forward for the further changes and updates.